Yeah. But I'm starting with All right. And just like that. What's up? Good to see everybody. Without further, I'm ready for some beer, so I'm gonna get right into it. First off, thanks for stopping by. Secondly, beer. So today we have Northern Brewers Nut Brown Ale Extract Kit. Let me do one of these for you. You'll see Amazon because that's where I bought it. Next day delivery. So this is going to be a super simple one. Not only are we going to be brewing today, but we're also going to be bottling. But I want to go ahead and get some of this stuff out. We've got extract. Some of you guys are familiar with this. Some hops. Corn sugar, grains, and yeast. All the necessary ingredients for a good time. I'm going to put these away for now. I also need to start getting some of the stuff ready for our bottling process as well. So let me do that. Important to stay hydrated. So, in order to do that, of course we need bottle caps. Let's see. We're going to need to use our auto siphon from our last video, if you guys remember that. We're going to use this to get the beer from bucket A to bucket B. In this case, we're going to get it, I've got the beer stored away right now, but when it's ready, we are going to get the beer out of there and into the bottling bucket. And then we're going to use this spigot here to actually let gravity and a siphon, which is also in here, do the work for us. For those of you that were with us the first live stream, you'll remember this, but essentially when the beer goes inside, it actually falls through. There's a spring here that will actually let the beer come out. And you use that to fill the bottle, and just like that, you've got bottled beer. I do need to clean a little bit of this though, so I'm going to put this in the sink. Let's see, I'll need to clean that again. And other than that, that's really it. I'm going to leave the beer in the, I've got it in the pantry right now. I'm going to leave it in there. That way it stays, there's lots of light in here. I want it to stay in the nice, cool, dark area. So we're going to let that stay in there. Now that we've got the bottling stuff put together, I'm going to run over the brewing steps real quick for this brew. Again, it's the Nut Brown Ale. I won't show all of it, but I'll show the name there, just a little bit of information there. This is going to be a little bit darker than what we've been doing. What we're going to be bottling today is a Lemondrop Saison. What we're going to be brewing is an English brown ale. So it's going to be a little bit darker. It's going to be a little sweet. Hints of chocolate, roast, stuff like that. Should be good. This one's going to be going into the keg. So this is actually going to be a much shorter process. It's actually, the way this timing is going to work out, the beer that we're going to be bottling today and the beer that we're going to be brewing today are both going to be ready on the same day. So that's going to be a nice, fun live stream. So we're going to go ahead and get right into it. Let's see. So first, I need to clean up a little bit of this. I've got the bottles. I've got the bottles in the dishwasher. So essentially, what I'm doing there is I washed all the bottles. I also had set it to a high heat dry setting, so that it does just that. It uses really, really hot air to dry it off, which will destroy the bacteria. So you don't have to worry about sanitizing each bottle one by one. Because that takes a long time, a very, very long time, trust me. So we can go ahead and start getting some of the bottles out. We'll line them up in our, it's a box, it's a box where you put a bunch of bottles in it, then you go down each line and just fill each bottle one at a time. So let's get started. Ta-da! All right, so essentially we just have a cardboard box with a bunch of holes in it. With this, we are going to put the bottles in here, and then we're gonna fill them up. After, of course, we get the beer moving. Very simple. I'm gonna look at getting plastic ones, so I don't have to worry about the cardboard being damaged over time. But this is what we've got right now. No need to. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. All right. These bottles are very hot still, which is good. Wow, that's hot. But what's really nice about this is we can actually do a little bit at a time and keep moving, because a lot of this stuff is just going to be very repetitive, so we can kind of use one hand to do one and the other to do something else. So essentially I'm going to grab a bottle, fill it, and kind of just go back and forth, and eventually we're going to cap them as well, so that's going to be a lot of fun. So let's go ahead and get the beer out of the pantry. Some of you may remember this. Again, this is our Northern Brewer Lemondrop Saison. Special request from my Uncle Phil, who bought the recipe a couple weeks ago. We started it, brewed it. That video you can see on the channel. But now it's time to bottle this baby. So now I'm going to clean and sanitize the bottling bucket. And then we're going to do a similar process as last time. Siphon the beer out of here and into the bottling bucket, and then the bottling bucket, the beer from there into the bottles. So let me go ahead and get the sanitizer ready. I'm going to need this bucket for sanitizer. Okay, so I'm getting some water into one of our buckets. We need about a gallon of water and a tablespoon of our sanitizer. From there, we'll be good to start sanitizing everything. You gotta make sure everything is nice and clean. That way there's no chance of infection. Otherwise it's wasted beer. Who wants that? Not me. Not me if that wasn't obvious. Sorry. Okay. So that's looking good. Get some stir action going on. And from here, I'm going to go ahead and get some of the sanitizer. I'm going to get the siphon and the magic bottling wand. I'm going to put those into the sanitizer. I'm going to dump some of the sanitizer into the bottling bucket, slosh that around, make sure some runs through the spigot. So let me do that real quick. Oh, looks like we have a visitor. This is Ravioli. To 0 viewers, this is great. Really missing out on this. You'll see it when it gets uploaded, though. All right, run off, little dude. Wash my hands again. So clean this up a little bit. Okay. So we've got that going. Let's see. Oh, what's up, Gabe? Today's recipe is Northern Brewers Nut Brown Ale. Can you see that? Hopefully you can. Sorry, Tucker is barking now. We're trying to. So not only are we going to be brewing today, but we're also going to be bottling today. I've got a couple weeks ago we started a brew. If you check out the one of the videos on the channel, you'll see that. But I've got that in here. It's finishing up its secondary fermentation, and then we're going to get that into the bottles. So right now I've got some stuff in the sanitizer here. We're getting this ready. I also need to sanitize the bottling bucket, which I'll do that now. Don't need this just yet. And we're just going to pour. And it's just going to splash everywhere. Yeah, that's what you want. You just wanted to get it everywhere, all on your glasses so that you can't see a little bit. That's the ideal. Trust me. The puppy is here. So once this is nice and clean, I'm going to leave this off to the side and get this ready for the Saison. I guess I didn't need to dump that into the sink if I'm just going to put it back. Okay, so now let me get some sanitizer through the siphon. Alrighty, so that is going to be good to go shortly. Let me get this open, and then we can get the siphon in it, and then beer into here. Let's see. This now? I wish I could show you this. But you will be able to see it later on. We're going to clip some of this process and upload this as a separate video. So you'll get a chance to see that since I can't really mess the camera. I can't mess around with the camera right now. But, wow, that smells really good. Really, really good. You can really smell the lemon. Yeah, that smells good. That smells good. Can you smell it already? Alright, so I'm going to move this back. Wow, that smells good. There was a step for dry hopping for this brew. So there is a bit of residue from the remaining hops that dissolved. So that's pretty fun. What I learned last time, I can actually sanitize a, what is the thing called? Colander? This thing? What's this thing called? One of these. I don't know what this is called, but we can use this. I'm gonna siphon the beer onto this so that when it gets inside, this will help clear it up a little bit. There's still a bit of hop residue. I don't want that in the beer at all. No. So I'm going to use this to clean that up a little bit. So let me sanitize this. Make sure the sanitizer in here is good. So I'm going to put the siphon in. How about this? Let me grab the. I'll actually try to siphon. I'll try to siphon the filtered beer because my arms are not gonna. That's not gonna work. Line that up. That is a mess waiting to happen. Can't wait. This wouldn't be just brewing if we weren't making a mess. And just like that. So, if you can't see it, I'm siphoning the beer from the primary bucket, or the secondary bucket, now into the bottling bucket. Now that it's clear and I can kind of see it, it's a nice yellow, like goldish color. You can still smell. You can very much smell the lemon, those hop aromas in it. So that's going to be very exciting. This is moving a little faster than I was expecting, which is good. So from here, it's a matter of getting the buckets, the bottles and stuff together. I will figure that out shortly. How should I do that? I'll need to. Can you get some of those bottles into that box for me? If there's any way.
If there's any way to get these bottles in that box.
I just realized something. I didn't start the priming sugar. I didn't prime it. So I'll just need to siphon it again as well. Oh wow, that's fun. So let me see how I'll do that. Yeah, I'll just have to siphon it a couple times, which is fine. This is going to be even clearer. So that might work out. It'll take a little longer, but whatever. Don't have much of a choice. Okay, so I did not prep the priming sugar for this. So the priming sugar is what actually carbonates the beer while it sits where it's going to sit for about 2 weeks. When sealed off, the yeast and all that's going to eat away the sugar and create CO2, and that's where the carbonation comes from. But I did not do that because I am ill-prepared currently. But that's all right. That's the joys of live streaming. And plus, I'm going to be here anyway, so it's not like it's going to make any actual difference. Luckily, this is moving relatively quickly. I mean, can't really complain. So once this is done, I'm going to get this back into one of the other buckets. I guess I'll clean this one and get it back into here. We may just pour it, just very carefully. I may need your help with that, just for time's sake. Maybe, we'll see. So I'm going to tilt this a little. Yeah, this looks really good. Now, now that this is moving along, once I get this back into this bucket, I should be able to get the priming sugar started. Whoa. It's got a little bit of gunk in there, but that's alright. We're going to be filtering it again. Wow, now that there's like a lot more beer in the bucket, it's like a red color now. It's kind of cool. there's a puppy in here. So once this is done, I will be able to move on and then start over, essentially. Gotta love it. Wow, this smells so good. If only you guys could smell this. Will you move my mouse pad or trackpad? Can you still smell it?
Not as much. Where's he?
He's right here. I can move him in a sec. He's not doing anything. He's licking water off the floor. Wow, this is. This was only like an ounce of hops, a half ounce of hops, I'm pretty sure. There's quite a bit of residue. I guess that's just how it works. Wow, this is very foggy now. Okay, that's enough. Ta-da! Bottles. Now we've got some clean bottles. We're going to use these to, this is what the beer's going to go in here in a bit. Let's get you, so for those that did not, for those that did not see it just yet, right now we're finishing up bottling. We're going to start bottling the Lemondrop Saison. Let's get this out of the way. So I'm going to use this bucket again, so I'm just going to clean this. But first, let's get some, I want to say it's a gallon, or a few cups of boiling water. Let's see, where's our 5 ounces of corn sugar. Okay. So now, let's see, where's it at? So 2/3 cup of water. That's what we need. Oops. Alrighty, so let's get that in here. Wait, I think I might have did that wrong. 2/3 cup and 16 ounces of water. So 16 ounces of water? Mix a priming solution, a measured amount of sugar dissolved in water. So this is corn sugar, 2/3 cup and 16 ounces. Let me check this one. This one may have better verbiage. Oh, nope, 2/3 cup priming sugar and 16 ounces of water. All right. 2/3 cup for 16 ounces, but this is 5 gallons. How many ounces are in a gallon? Too many? Wow. I don't know anything, apparently. So let me check another recipe. That one said 2 cups. I'll take it. That is enough for me. We're gonna put the water measuring thing. Do you see it? Wow, I'm going crazy.
I actually don't see it. I remember. Oh, it's right there. Behind the.
Oh, dope. So, let's see. Oh, the chat box isn't working. It should be working. I had to put a chat box thing on there. Let's see. So bring this to a boil. Just gonna mix it up a little bit. So while this is boiling, I'm gonna get the saison out of the bottling bucket and back into this other bucket. But first, I have to clean it. Hot water. Another round of sanitizer. Alrighty, back at it. For those of you that didn't see, we have a new member of the household, Ravioli, the cutest puppy in the world. I should, if I had we need one of those baby Bjorn things. Puppy Bjorn. Bjork. Bjark? No? Okay, never mind. There's something there. We'll just copyright it that way. If someone makes it funnier, we get money still. Is that how that works? That's alright. So I sanitized this. We are back in here. Luckily, there's like almost no gunk in here now, so I can be a little bit. I don't have to be as careful with the siphon, as long as it's not getting too many bubbles. Everything should be all right here. So we're gonna Whoops. And we're moving. Again. So once this is done, we'll be able to actually start getting it into the bottles. Of course, after we get the priming sugar into the bottling bucket. So I'm going to get this out of here, pour that into here, and then this beer, after it goes into here, back into here. It's a little tedious, but we are going to get clearer beer out of it, so there's at least that, right? So now that this is done, I guess it's a matter of, so this is 24 bottles. Yeah, 24 bottles. This should be fine. It'll take a little bit longer, but we'll be here anyway. So the one thing that will be fun is capping all the beers. That process itself is oddly satisfying. Just being able to use the capper to crimp down the edges of the bottle cap. It's a little bit. It's fun. Stress reliever, I think some people would say. We're almost at a boil here, which is good. This is moving right along. It smells so good. Can't wait. I don't know if I have 2 weeks. That's gonna be a long time to wait for this beer.
It could be really faster.
I mean, as soon as like a week. We can try one in a week, but if it's not good, then. But hey, that's what the whole point of trying it is for, right? It's to know if it's good. Wow, we're already almost halfway done with this. Once this is done, we'll be able to catch back up in the bottling process. And then after that, we should be good to start getting the boil ready. Let me go ahead and take a look at the steps here for the new one. Let's see. Okay, unpack the kit a few days before. Okay. Yep. So first we're gonna collect and heat 2.5 gallons of water. That's super easy since we've got a handful of buckets to use. We will put the grains in a bag and then put that into the hot water. Bring to a boil. Add the malt syrup. So this big old bottle here. I'm just giving you the cliff notes, really. No need to go verbatim here. I'm just gonna go freestyle it, if you will. Let's see, return. Okay, so bring to a boil, stir in, blah, blah, blah. Add hops for an hour, cool it, sanitize, add yeast. Oh, no, sanitize the yeast, okay. I was about to say, whoa, that's early to be doing that. Sanitize, cool, blah, blah, blah. 2 gallons. And we have a boil. Alrighty, so really this is going to be a super simple recipe. The one that we're brewing, so it's probably not going to take nearly as long as the other one did. So this should be a lot of fun. This should work out as far as doing the bottling and brewing in one day. We're moving. We're moving right along. So after I do this, we should be good to, I could probably brew and bottle at the same time. You know, and just pause the bottling, like when I need to, right? That's smart. We're smart. I can't wait to try this nut brown ale. I haven't had I haven't had a brown ale in a while. You could say it's close to something like an amber, but this is more the grains and the malt that are used are more, I don't want to say traditional, but back to the original roots from England. So it's not going to be an amber per se. So it's going to be a little more brown than it would be red. But it's going to be a nice middle of the road as far as light, dark. It's going to be a little sweet, a little chocolatey. I can't wait. It'll be a nice one to have with, I don't know. I'm still working on beer pairings. some chocolate, some vanilla ice cream. There you go. You don't want to try it with vanilla ice cream?
Oh, I would.
All right, so we're almost done here. We've got very little left in the bottling bucket. I don't know what of this you can see. I'm gonna get every drop I can since it's so clear. Boom. Oh. And just like that, we're making a mess. Okay, so now, just gotta clean this up, get the priming sugar into it, and then, wow, we're moving pretty quickly. Get the priming sugar into it, and then just siphon it back in. It's a little back and forth, but hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. Okay. Buckets. I need like 5 buckets.
We can probably make that happen.
Yeah. Just having only 1 extra bucket is not doing it.
He's right behind your plate. You're laying down though.
Perfect. Another round of sanitizer. We'll leave that in there for now. Go ahead and pour in our priming sugar. Boom. Okay. Yeah, this is actually we're moving along. So I'm going to siphon the beer one more time from here into the bottling bucket again. I'm going to take the tubing off of the siphon and use this on the spigot of the bottling bucket to get the beer from the bucket to the bottles with the help of the magic auto siphon, or the magic wand, magic bottling wand. Okay. Whoa. Did you see? Okay, I guess that was just me. Cool. Alrighty. I'm going to line this up so that it's going along the edge. That way it kind of stirs as well. Come on. There we go. So now we've got the beer going from the bucket into the bottling bucket. Yeah, we're moving along. We're moving along. Shortly we'll be able to get them into the bottles, seal those off, and then store them for 2 weeks. The hardest part of brewing. But what I'm gonna do first, once this is done, once the beer is out of this bucket into the bottling bucket, I'm gonna start prepping the hot water for the next brew. That way, that's probably gonna take 20-30 minutes to actually get hot enough. So I'm gonna try to get that started as soon as possible. Luckily, I'll have something to do in the meantime. I'll have the bottles to fill. I'll also have to cap them. This will be very, very, I won't say active, but I'll actually be moving around this time. Not just standing. I'll actually be working. At least it'll feel like it. Still smells good, in case you wanted to know. Wow. So now, I've got 2 hands, so. Oh, you know what I need? I can get like a hook or something to like keep this on here.
Did you use a clamp? One of the...
No. No, I'm sure there's some way to do it. Something like this. You know? I mean, that's not a clamp per se. I guess it is a clamp. I guess it is a clamp with a hole in it. It just... Oh, he's trying to get on the couch. This smells really, really, really good. Uncle Phil, if you're watching, this is a good choice. In 2 weeks, you'll be able. I'll bring some over. I'll bring some to the house. Let's see. Let's do that. So that is going to go into the bag. Okay. Yeah, this should be fine. This should be fine. Let's see. So once this is done, we'll be good to start moving on to the next part, which is going to be getting the brew ready, heating this up, and then putting grains in a bag, steeping the grains, blah, blah, blah. The fun stuff. This is the brewing process is probably the best part. So this is where we're gonna have some fun here. Once this is done, I'm gonna need a beer. All this work is making me thirsty. Apologies.
Is this fucking bothering you?
Okay. Wow, this is yeah, this isn't going to take long at all. There's only 1 round of hops, so it's not like we're going to be doing very much with that. It's the same 1 hour hop boil, so.
Are you telling me this isn't going to be a 3-hour stream?
It may be in total since we're still bottling, but even then, when we did that, we also did secondary fermentation, went over the kegerator. It was like 3. This is the least engaging part of brewing, but that's okay. This is we're just 1 step closer to having beer ready. I guess now's a good time to go over the charity that we're sponsoring. If you haven't taken a look at the description, you'll see that I'm sponsoring the NAACP Legal Defense and Education Fund. You can find the donation link as well as information on the charity in the description. Feel free to take a look and see what they're all about before donating your money. If there's a way to confirm it, I would love to match donations. I've already donated, but I would love to obviously do what I can to donate more. So if you are able to donate, send me an email at justbrewing@gmail.com. Send me a confirmation of that, and I'll match donations up to $10. I can't go broke here. But I'll match donations. That way we can kind of maximize all the good that we're doing. But send me an email. I should get a notification on it. And once I take a look at it, see that it's the confirmation, I can make sure to, at the end of the stream, match all of those. Okay. Come on, get on out of there. Okay. Woo. So now, I'm gonna go ahead and get some water in the pot. We're gonna get this going. We're gonna put the grains here in the mesh bag here. Let me fix this real quick. Awesome. Hello again, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and get the malt extract. Again, this is gold malt extract, 100% malted barley. So this is gonna be a barley. That pretty much kind of gives you clues as to like what color it's gonna be. A couple other things. There's a lot that goes into it. The hops that you're using, any other flavors that might go into it. So this by itself won't tell you what you're gonna get out of it, but this might give you a very generic snapshot of what you may be brewing. But that's what we're working with here. All right. Get that in the hot water. We are done with the siphon for today, so I'm just going to put this in the sanitizer for now.
You're not going to use the siphon as sanitize?
I'm going to do the siphon now.
I mean to bottle.
That's the bottling one. I'll use that. I'm going to use the hose from the siphon. I don't know where I put it. But I'm going to use the hose. I don't know why I put it over here. I'm going to use this hose, attach it to the bottling bucket, and then use this to get beer out of the bucket into the bottles. So let me sanitize this. Oops. 2.5 gallons of water. This is essentially just me cleaning in the kitchen while having a live stream on. I didn't realize I'd be cleaning so much today. But I'm cleaning now to make it easier for later. I'm getting water into the bucket now. I'm going to get that to 2.5 gallons and then get that into the kettle, which is right here. Put this on the fire and then we will start the brew process. While that's going, let me get the hose out of here. Okay. I'm gonna get the siphon onto the hose, and then the hose onto the bottling bucket. Dry my hands off here. Perfect. And now this onto the bottling bucket. I don't know if that's 2.5 gallons. So, okay. 5, 4, 3, 2. Almost. Wow, I have to be really careful here. Alright, so water. Lid. Kettle lid, where are you? Oh yeah. So we got that working. So what we're going to do now is we're going to use the spigot on the bottling bucket, to get beer through the line, use the magic bottling wand to press down in the bottom of the bottle, it'll fill, and then from there we're going to fill as many as we can, go and cap them, and then move on to the next box of bottles. I do have the 2.5 gallons of water heating up here on the stove. What I'll do real quick before we get too involved here, I'm going to go ahead and get the grains put in. That way when it gets to 170 degrees, we can just take it right out. So again, we're working with the Maverick Grain Blend. Dallas fans may like that. Oh, that smells good. It smells like, I don't know, it kind of just smells like, it's obviously just grains, but you can almost smell a sweetness to it. You want to smell that? Smells good, right?
Smells like... That's highly irritating.
Whoa. Okay. Now that the kettle is done screaming, I'm going to get the grains over the bag, over the grains. I'm going to take it to the sink. That way it makes it as little mess as possible. Again, not no mess, just little mess. Don't want it to be too tight, but I'm just going to go ahead and put a knot in the grain bag. Real quick while I'm doing this, special shout out to my girlfriend, Alicia, who got me this nice shirt at a thrift store. Cool, right? How fitting. More cool t-shirts on the way. hint hint as to what's coming. So I'm gonna go ahead and drop these in. I'm going to steep them much like you would a tea bag, just to make sure that the grains all over are getting contact with the water. We want to get as much nutrients and stuff out of the grains as possible. So let's do that. Oh, huh?
What is that?
What's that?
That's that noise?
Yeah. Awful, right? Cool. So now we should be good to go ahead and start bottling. If only there were an easy way to get this part on the live stream. Actually, I can move this. I can move the live stream.
Sure.
I've put scenes in place for this exact moment. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to show you what I've been working on. Let's see. Okay. Let's see. Whoa, it does not want to load all this stuff. Let's see. Image. So what I'm going to do here in a sec, we are going to, I'm going to move the laptop that I'm using for the stream over to where I'm bottling so you can actually see the bottling. Actually, I don't have to move the laptop so much, right? Let's do this. I wish the intermission thing would just show. Let's see.
Do you want to chair to sit in while you do it?
Nah, it should be fine. So I apologize for this. I'm trying to get my, let's see, I get this going. All right, we're just gonna go for it. Let's just move it. Take that off. Okay. Cool. So let me move this. You want to bring that around? Which way do you want to do this?
What do you have the thing?
What?
That way it's not just video.
I can't get the thing. Here, I can do this. Starting soon. All right, I'm gonna move this. I'm going to move the camera really quick, so give us just 1 second. Hold on, I'll do.
Just look at it in the studio. I'll move the lights.
So just 1 sec.
Sure you don't want to drink?
Okay, so now this is the setup over at the bottling station. I'm bringing in a chair real quick so I can actually sit down here. But I've got the beer coming up from this line here. I'm going to use the bottling wand to let beer flow through, get to the brim of the bottle, and then we're just going to move on. Once this is done, we're going to take them, cap them, and then move on to the next box. So this is still going. Can you check the temperature on this bucket for me? So we're just going to start right here. Mm-hmm. What's that?
You said bucket.
My bad.
150.
Cool. And just like that, we've got beer flowing through the hose here into the bottle. And once it gets to the to the brim of the bottle, I'm gonna take this out, and then I'm gonna should I cap them individually? Do you think, or cap them like as we go? As we go, or all at once?
I think all at once, right?
All right.
Do you want me to put the?
If you wouldn't mind. All right. So once this is done, we're gonna keep letting this go. I'm gonna turn the heat down on the kettle just a little. I don't want it to get too hot. I don't want the grains to burn. And I also want to make sure I have enough time. I'm buying myself enough time to get this going. In the grand scheme of things, or in the large distribution centers, it's not going to look anything like this. They're filling likely 6 and 12, 15 bottles all at once. And from there, it's just a matter of making sure that it's efficient. Here in the homebrew community, we don't have that. It's all the hard way. But that's okay. That's what makes doing this fun, and that's what makes it worth it. Once we get these bottles filled, we'll be able to cap them, and then continue. Once they're capped, that is essentially it. We are gonna be good with this Lemondrop Saison for about 2 weeks while they carbonate. We'll try it after 1 week, though. We'll try it after 1 week. I've been pretty successful just because the closet that this sits in is dark and doesn't get opened very often, so it's very ideal. So that could help with speeding the process up just a little bit. Maybe just a little bit. One thing to discuss while we are doing this, I also have a Twitch channel that at one point, hopefully next live stream, we'll be able to stream to there as well. So if you're more familiar with the Twitch platform than you are YouTube Live, that may be a familiar place for you to still be able to be involved with the stream. More on that later. So we are about 8 bottles in now, moving right along. This is looking like it may give us about 40 beers, or maybe it was just under 5 gallons. So it should yield us about 40 or so beers if we're able to squeeze it by. Obviously, the more beer, the better. One downside to the small scale brewing, the brewing process, I can only really make realistically 5 gallons at a time. Eventually I'll be able to make 8, but that's going to require a couple $100 more in equipment. Eventually we'll get there. I already have a recipe waiting for me, but I do not have the money to go to that just yet. But stay tuned. Once I do, we'll be able to have a little bit more beer. We're going to do it a different way. This way yields a lot more beer instead of the extract, it's all grain. So you're essentially getting all the same nutrients and flavor, but rather than it being in syrup, you're going to get it naturally out of the grain, very much like what's in the pot right now. Speaking of which, could you check on that for me? I can do that here.
About 165.
Okay, cool. That's good. Once it hits 170, we'll be able to get the grains out. That should only be a few more minutes on that. There's a couple things that I'm looking to do to make this brewing day a little more efficient, and bottling day more efficient. Plastic trays instead of the cardboard. There's drying racks that you can get for them that look like a tree, where you just like put them on there. Yeah, instead of having to like put them in there. Granted, you'll still have to wash them. Washing them in the dishwasher washing the bottles in the dishwasher is a little bit better than sanitizing them, just because you can do it more at once instead of just taking a bottle, soaking it in sanitizer, getting some sanitizer on the inside, and then letting it drain out, doing that 45, 50 times for all your bottles. It's usually easier just to put them in the dishwasher, wash them, and then make sure to set that at very high drying, however you would do that. If your dishwasher lets you. I just overflowed that one a little bit, but that's okay. Once I'm done with this row of bottles, I'm going to go ahead and get the grains out of the kettle. That doesn't necessarily need to be on camera. It's just going to be taking the grains out, letting them drain, and then putting them into the sink. And then we're going to get that mixture to a boil. Once it gets to a boil, we will add in the extract and then the hops. Let it boil for an hour, and then we'll almost be pretty much done with it. It shouldn't take too long. Since this is a very simple recipe, it shouldn't take very long for it to brew either, for it to ferment. I'm looking at about a 2-week turnover on this brown ale that's going to be brewing shortly. That's on the stove now. Moving right along. We're about halfway through with all our bottles. Almost halfway through. That's why we're brewing at the same time. That way it minimizes the long-term time spent. Once again, for those that are watching, go ahead and take a look at the channel description. You'll be able to see the donation link as well as the info to the national or the NAACP Legal Defense and Education Fund. You'll find the information link in there as well, so go ahead and take a look at that. Excuse me. Getting some tongs. I'm just going to use these tongs to get the grains out. These tongs are barely strong enough to keep this. Ooh. Let me get the other tongs. There we go.
That smells really good though.
Very dark already. So I'm draining the grains right now. Once these are done, we should be able to put these in the sink. It's taking a little bit longer than I thought, but hey, that's all right. Okay, so I'm going to put the lid back on. I'm going to double check the recipe and make sure. Bring to a boil and then add the 6 pounds of malt syrup. So I'm going to turn the heat back up here. And then get back to the bottling. Wow, that I can, yeah, you're right, I can smell it. I can smell the chocolatey, like the roasted chocolate. I can really smell it.
It reminds me of working as a barista.
I bet that was fun.
It wasn't. It was to like learn how to do latte art, but it wasn't a good place.
I believe that. All right, so what we'll do is, I may, now that we've got the bottling stuff on, now that we've see what that looks like, we may move the stream back to its original place. I think I can do that at this. Do this at a visible place. I don't know that this has to be at the stove anymore, right?
I mean, as long as you bottle, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'll still be able to bottle it because I just want to make sure that it's up and visible for the capping part. Ooh-wee. Eventually, I'll be able to look into ways to make it more efficient. You know, using more than one bottling wand. That's really about it. There aren't very crazy many ways to cut down the time and stuff like that on the actual bottling process, not without the help of industrial machines. But hey, this is what we're here for.
That's me.
Oh,
An industrial machine.
overflowed some of the beer again there. That's gonna be fun to clean up in the cardboard box. The nice thing about the box is that they just stack on top of themselves. Like I can put them on top of themselves. The plastic ones wouldn't do that so well. Almost done with this box here, and then we'll be able to get the other box. That should take care of it. This is 24 bottles to a case, and I don't expect more than 40 beers.
You're already halfway done.
Yeah. Look at the bucket there. You can see. So this here is almost done. The kettle is gonna take a little bit longer to get to a boil, which is all right. This gives us more time to continue capping and stuff like that. But once these are done, we'll just put them in a closet for a couple weeks, or I guess 1 week, and then we'll try it. Almost done. Last bottle on this box. And then I will be able to move on to the next one. This will be we're moving right along.
The smell of those grains is making me hungry.
Yeah, it's pretty nice, I'm not gonna lie. So I'm gonna leave that in there for now, just to make way for the next bucket. Awesome. And now to cap these babies. So I'm going to move the camera again. So I'm going to swap scenes here. That way there's no motion sickness or anything like that.
You guys, you...
Boom. And we're back. So, yeah, that's far from boiling. I'm going to go ahead and open these bottle caps here. Will you tilt it down a little bit? I want to be able to see the bottle. I can't like hold the bottle up, you know. Yeah. Perfect. So, what we have here, Lemondrop Saison. Some bottle caps also provided by Northern Brewer. A bottle capper provided by Northern Brewer. This does have a magnet on it, so you don't have to worry too much about it falling off while you're using it. But essentially, those that had watched the first live stream will remember this. But you'll take it, crimp down the sides, and just like that, you have a sealed bottle of beer. The first of many. Wow. It smells really good. Smell that. Done it? Very good choice, Uncle Phil. Okay. I'll slow down. So right now, welcome back. Right now I am capping the Lemondrop Saison that we've bottled so far. We're really only about halfway done with the actual bottling, just because there's more beer to bottle. But I wanted to make sure that this got put on camera, that you guys see what this looks like. Awesome. So I will need to figure out I also need to have another beer with a silver cap. I'll need to figure out how to make sure I differentiate them. So that'll be fun. Luckily there's only one left, so as long as it stays up where it is, it should be fine. Saving it. It's the Peach IPA. It's the very last one. I'm saving it for a friend of mine. Alrighty. Ooh. So let's see what I can do here. Also, nothing really. We're just moving along. Almost to a boil on that. That smells so good. I cannot wait. I may do something like well, it would depend on the time of year. By the time I'm thinking of doing something, going a little darker with the recipes. I'm starting with this one. It's a brown ale, so it's not going to be terribly. I'm sorry. What's in the pot? Not this. This is the saison. But what's boiling right now is going to be a relatively. It's going to be a brown, dark brownish color. It's not going to be dark, nearly as dark as something like Guinness. But it's going to be a little bit darker than what you've seen on the channel so far. I can't wait. This is what's going to be going into the kegerator. So that's going to be a lot of fun to have on tap. This should come out to about 6% or so. I'm pretty sure. Something like that. But nonetheless, I'm really excited. I think it's going to go great with so long as the temperature goes down a little bit. Here in Texas, it's cold when we're in it's cool when we're in double digits. Anything over that it's just always hot. It's always over 100 degrees here, so we look forward to it being 90, 95. Those are the cold days. We're about halfway done bottling this box of bottles. Bottling box of bottles. Say that 5 times fast. Don't say it. No. Now that we're halfway through, I'm gonna grab that drink that I said I was gonna get however many years ago. Old Faithful. I'm gonna try the perfect pour. Let's see how this goes. This is Revolver's Blood and Honey American Ale. It's like a citrus wheat beer, something to that effect. We're going for the perfect pour. Oh, too much foam. It was close. It'll settle.
No, that's pretty.
It was good. I can do better. I need to workshop it. We'll get better.
It's pretty good. It didn't overflow, it
It
didn't
did-
drip down the side. That's a
yeah.
win. That's about 1.5 inches above. So you're not like crazy over.
I still wouldn't feel great serving that to someone, but that's alright. I'm serving it to myself.
I'd drink it.
That's a good point. It's still beer. I'm just gonna let it settle a little bit. That way I can get a little bit more beer back. Also, I don't want a beer mustache, so I'm gonna leave this layout mode. There we go. Wow, there's a lot going on in this shot right now. Hey, Uncle Phil. I mean, just like all the bottles, the buckets, and all that stuff, everything that's going on. I'm bottling your Lemondrop Saison. It's going to be ready in about a week. It'll be ready in about a week. Oh, the chat box is working now.
That's cool.
Yeah, I can see Uncle Phil. I saw it very quickly. I saw his chats in there. Yeah, right now I'm not only bottling, but we're also brewing. I have another Northern Brewer nut brown ale. So this is going to be you can't really see that, but it's going to be a kind of a middle of the road when it comes to light and dark beer. It's still gonna have hints of a dark beer, so it's gonna be great. It's gonna be very chocolatey. All that extra malts, the grains that are in it. I can't wait. It's gonna be nice. Oh, need a bottle cap. So that's still not even at a boil yet, which is nice. I should be able to finish bottling the rest of the beer by the time it's done, by the time it gets to a boil. This is a little warm. Not that this is a bad thing, but it should cool down, which will make way for an easier carbonating process. Okay. Now is not a bad time to remind everyone of the charity that I'm sponsoring, the NAACP Legal Defense and Education Fund. You'll find the link in the description, along with the info link, so feel free to do a little bit of research first. But essentially, it is a nonprofit geared towards fighting social injustice, starting with things like education, posting bail for those that are wrongfully arrested at protests and things like that. So feel free to take a look at that. Again, I'm matching donations up to $10. So if you email me at justbrewing@gmail.com, you will be able to, if you send me a screenshot, I will match your donation. Give me 1 second. But I'm going to put the email address in the chat. I'm doing that right now. So if you take a look at the chat, you'll see my my channel email, and you'll be able to send me that email with a confirmation, and then at the end of it, I will go and match all those donations all at once. I don't want to have to go and do individually, but I'll do the math and I'll add them up, and we'll donate some money. Moving on. So this box of bottles of beer is ready. So I'm just going to move these off to the side here. We also have, for those that didn't see, we also have a new member of the household and the family. This is Ravioli, Ravi for short. The world's cutest puppy. He's been helping us brew beer. He's fantastic at it. All he has to do is enter the room and everything is amazing. So, go on, little guy. Be free. All right, let's finish bottling beer. Oh, snap.
What?
It was actually, some of it was actually going. Can you give me a towel?
There's towels in that drawer, should be.
Here, I got one on me.
Okay.
Alright, so I am still bottling this beer. Unbeknownst to me, while sitting in the bottle, it actually, some of the beer was actually running. So we lost a little bit of beer there. But that is okay. It wouldn't be just brewing if we weren't making a mess. So while this is going, I should be able to check the kettle. It sounds like it's going to be done here in a minute. Should we leave that there for now? Oh, we're not even at a boil yet. We are pushing 200 degrees Fahrenheit, but that's going to be, we're still not quite there for the full boil. Okay, so now that that mess has been cleaned up just a little bit, I can keep moving on. At some of these angles, it's a little weird. It's like a little hard to see the beer fill up, and I of course don't want to make a mess. But some of these angles, it's a little hard to tell specifically where the beer is at, where that beer level is. But that's all right. So once this is done, we'll do another round of capping the bottles. And then from there, that boil should be done. It should be done in the next few minutes. So that's going to give us a little bit more time to continue doing this. We're almost ready to get the rest of this brew going. Once the bottles are done, once these are done, we'll be able to get the extract into the boiling water with the grain residue, whatever you would call that, the remains of the grains. Then we will start stirring that in, so that'll be a lot of fun. Here in a bit, I may take a leap and try to set up a poll as to what beer we should brew after the nut brown ale is done. Once that one is done, we're going to need another, after about 3 weeks or so, once this the brown ale is out of the keg, we'll need to replace it with something. And I'm interested to see what you guys want to watch be brewed. I mean, there's a lot of different beer styles out there. With my current equipment, I can brew most of it, but feel free to put in the chat here if there's a specific beer that you'd like to see brewed. Something darker, something. The only things I really can't do would be like a nitro brew, which is something that uses nitrogen to carbonate it instead of carbon dioxide. Right now we have a CO2 canister for the kegerator. I do not have a nitrogen canister, so I couldn't do that. But most other beers are up for grabs. So let me know here. I would set up the poll thing. That's probably a little bit more work than I know. that I know how to do. So maybe next stream I'll have that put together. I also ordered some custom pint glasses that you'll hopefully next stream be able to see. I don't know that I'll be able to do anything with them other than just drink out of them, much like I do the pint glasses that are here now. But they'll have my logo on it, and that'll be cool. But that's not for another week or two before that arrives. So hopefully in time for the next stream, not only the next stream, but also the cool t-shirt that I have. New t-shirt that I'm working on. Yeah, it doesn't look like the stream. You can't see the mess that was made, which is if anything a good thing. But yeah, well, maybe one fewer beer. We may have lost the beer. Yeah, it's unfortunate. We'll say some words later. Maybe not a whole beer. Maybe not a whole beer. But that's all right. I mean, there's not much that we can do about that right now. We just keep moving forward. Just keep swimming, as a wise fish once know. We are officially more than halfway done with bottling the beer. You can see here in the bucket that it's, if you can see it, it is getting almost empty here. So that's a good thing. We're almost done here. We'll be able to cap these and then we'll keep moving. Keep swimming. I can probably get 2 more beers out of this. No, maybe 3. There's still some in the line and all that. Not too bad. This is I like the brewing and bottling at the same time. This is the first time I've done both at once. Up until I got the kegerator, all the beer that I was drinking, my homebrew beer, was all out of a bottle, which is fine. It's the easier way to go about doing homebrew because you don't have to buy a fridge and all that stuff, or buy the whole kegerator. But now that I have that, I've been saving a little bit of time. I haven't had to bottle beer, so this is the first time in a month or so I've had to bottle beer. But that's all right. Quite a bit of this is probably going to Uncle Phil anyway. He'll be getting however much he wants. But I may force him to come over and visit. Or we'll just bring him beer. That's probably what we'll do.
But he has to cook.
Someone will have to. All right, so we're almost done. I'm getting a few more beers out of this. And I can tell by now that kettle is probably going to be boiling soon. At least it sounds like it. Actually, just for now, I'm going to let that sit for a second. Check on this. Wow, that smells good. That smells really good.
And we're ready to. Are you going to bottle the or cap it?
Not yet.
Okay.
Oh, a couple more. As you can see, we're running out of beer, which is kind of running out of beer to put in the bottle. Just essentially means we're almost done. We are getting some bubbles, and that's less than preferred. But I think that's mostly just because we don't have very much beer left to I may have to call it there. We'll just physics real quick. So I don't expect these bubbles that are in here to be a problem. It shouldn't be changing much of the texture of the beer. It shouldn't mix in too much. And if it does, this would, if anything, would be the test beer because it's probably not going to fill out just based on what it's looking like. Oh, and maybe it will if it wants to move through the line. I'm trying to get as much as I can. And since we filtered it maybe 3 or 4 times, it's pretty clear, so I don't have too much to worry about as far as gunk is concerned. So that's a good thing. It's just a little, we're almost there. That's essentially all I can get out of it, so let's see if I can. Ugh. Oh, okay, I guess I still have to. And just like that, we're done with this part. Cool. That should give us just enough time to cap these. The cardboard box should survive that mess that was made. But we will cross that bridge later. Okay. So that bottling time. So we're going to continue doing that same system that we had earlier. And these are the empty ones. So this was the last beer that we got. Almost a whole beer, if you can see it. Yeah, this is essentially going to be the test beer. The scent isn't as strong by itself, of course, since there's much less beer now, but that is okay. I'm going to turn this up just a touch. Actually, we're just going to go all the way. So from here, we can essentially shift our focus towards the kettle now, because all I have to do with this is just continue this capping process. Once I'm done capping it, these are just going to sit off to the side and then get put in a closet for about a week. With what we have on the stove right now, we are about 2 steps in out of 6 maybe for today. All we have to do is get it to a boil and then add in the malt syrup. The syrup right now is in the sink, soaking in some hot water to make it easier to pour. Those that were with us last week may remember, or 2 weeks ago when we live streamed the brew of what we're bottling right now. You guys would remember that it just makes it a little bit easier to pour. There's a lot of stirring and pouring at this part. Luckily, there's no dry malt extract, which is a little bit tougher to. It's a little. You have to be more careful with it. You have to go a little more slowly, which just means it takes a little bit more effort and it takes longer. I'm not a fan of either of those. Luckily, we don't have to deal with that this recipe. It's just going to be the 1 round of hops after we get the extract in. And that's actually going to be it. That's all the extra stuff that we're going to be adding into it, with the exception of yeast. Once we pour the extract in, we'll be getting the hops in and then let it boil for an hour. And then once it's ready, at the end of that hour, we are going to chill it. Hopefully making it less of a mess this time around.
You mean when we're doing this time, we're just putting it back outside?
We're just putting it right outside, yeah. We're just going to let it go into the grass. Water the grass. So we are almost done with capping. We've got 9 bottles left, 7 bottles left. So this is now at a boil, so I'm going to get that down. That was a little faster than I expected. I guess that's what happens when you crank the heat all the way up. So I'm going to drop that quite a bit, just to make sure that I can finish this and then fully devote my attention to stirring that extract in. Oh, I keep forgetting to grab a bottle cap. So we're almost done with this. Once it's done, we're just going to move this off to the side and keep moving. Luckily, I've already got a bucket of sanitizer. I'll need to clean one of the other buckets that we were using so that we can make way for the beer. But we can do that during the hot boil, during that 1 hour time period. Last 2 bottles. Last bottle. Okay. And just like that, we are done with our Lemondrop Saison for about 2 weeks. What I'll do is I'm going to put this off to the side for now. We're going to readjust the camera, and then we are going to stir in the malt extract. So I'm going to be right back with you. Okay, so here we are. I'm gonna go ahead and start stirring in the malt extract. This is gonna be fun. Hold on, let me move this bucket. This has our sanitizer in it. So real quick, go ahead and show what that looks like there. So I guess you can't really see it, but it's very dark. Very, very dark. Oh, if that's any better. It's very dark, which is going to be great. I can't wait. Alright, enough rhyming. Here we go. Oh. Okay. So I'm essentially just going to keep stirring until this 6-pound malt extract is completely emptied into the this is going to be wort, or it's essentially wort now that there's extract in it. Once this is done, we'll be able to get the hops in. Wow, I should probably stop messing with this thermometer. Be more careful. Yeah, this smells very good. Had now 3 people say so. So, I really can't wait to see what this actually turns out to taste like. Now you can definitely smell something like a dark chocolate, almost marshmallowy type sweetness. Those are separate things, by the way, the dark chocolate and the marshmallow sweetness. Oh, I'm getting some on the spoon here. Be a little more careful. Friendly reminder for those that are watching that we are sponsoring the NAACP Legal Defense and Education Fund. You'll find the link to the donation site as well as their information in the description below, right below that like button. So we're about halfway through. So I'm just going to keep pouring, keep stirring. This is actually coming out great. It was a good thing that we had it soaking for as long as we did, because it's not as thick as it would have been. This makes it a little bit easier to pour and stir. Speeds up the process a little bit. Wow, this is gonna be darker than I thought it was gonna be, which it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just one of those things. I can't wait personally. Something like this is gonna probably, as long as it tastes just fine, it's not gonna last very long in our house. We're all of the drinking age here, and we all like things that taste good. So I don't expect this to last too long. Probably about as long as our the IPA have gotten it right now, and that's going to be empty this week, which is why I wanted to go ahead and get this going. That'll give me a little bit of a time, about a week in between beers in the keg. Not that it matters all that much, but that'll give me a chance to fix some of the small issues with it while this brew continues to ferment. I want every drop. It's probably a little hard to see on camera, but I'm trying to get every drop of this extract that I can. This is where some of the alcohol content is going to come from. This is where some of the color is going to come from. Some of the flavor is going to come from it. Sorry about that. Almost there. I can go ahead and get the heat back on because I need this to get to a boil. before I can get the hops in. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the heat back on. Okay, there's like no way that's gonna come off right now, so. That smells really good. Okay, so now that that's done, we'll get it back to a boil. Once it gets there, it's now officially called wort. So it is unfermented beer, essentially beer without the yeast or the carbonation. It will be full on beer after we get after the fermentation process gets going. But now that we are done stirring things in, I'm gonna go ahead and move the camera again. So give me 1 second to get the transition set up. Awesome. Okay, so now there's about 2.5, maybe 3 gallons of water in here now. Now that the extract and stuff like that has had a chance to become a liquid in the heat. This is going to take a little bit longer to get to a boil. It was kind of hot before. That should help us out, but it's still going to take a little bit to get to a boil. But once it does, we will add in the hops, and then we'll chill, and then we'll let it sit for an hour. So here are the hops that we're working with. I haven't actually used these hops before, but there's a mild wood and fruit characteristics. That's the aroma. Perfect for English style brown ale beers. So that wood smell, that flavor is going to add a little bit extra character to it, add a little bit more body to it. Something like this may last a little bit longer on your tongue. You may get kind of how whiskey has that burnt smell taste to it. You may get something like that out of a beer like this. Let me get this fixed again. Okay, moving right along. So now, we should be able to, I should be able to start sanitizing things. The yeast, I'm going to go ahead and get in the sanitizer. I'm going to get the scissors in the sanitizer as well. again, since this was such a simple recipe, there isn't much else to do here. Usually this would be the part where you would also be stirring in the malt extract, the dry malt extract rather. The only other thing that we need to do is add hops and wait about an hour, chill it. I've got the wort chiller over near the door. We're gonna have to go grab the water hose again because it's out front. But we'll hook that up. We'll hopefully not make as big a mess this time around, and then we'll be good to go. This one's a very simple, very straightforward live stream this time around. Last time there was a lot going on. All that stuff that was going on is already gone. We already did all that by now, so very simple. I hope everyone's enjoying themselves so far. Feel free to let me know if there's something that you want to go over, or if you have any questions. Now would be a good time to do it, because all we're doing is waiting for this kettle to get to a boil. I'm going to continue cleaning up, so give me just 1 second. I'm saving the extra bottle caps, because if I don't have to pay for any, then, you know, I'm going to need some in the future, but it'll be nice if I don't have to pay for any. Yeah, this is moving right along. I like it. I'm going to use the Northern Brewer as the bucket as the primary fermenter. So I'm going to swap the sanitizer and put that from this bucket into this one. So this will be fun. Just 1 second. All right, so now that we're nice and clean, let me make sure that this is coming along nicely. Looks just fine. So that has the sanitizer in it. We're gonna get the beer into here, or the wort into there. And now it is a waiting game. So let me go ahead and move this corn sugar. This is something that I'm not going to need. This was the exact same corn sugar that we used for the priming solution when we were bottling our Lemondrop Saison. Since this beer is going to be going into the keg, I'm going to use CO2 to carbonate it. So I won't need the corn sugar, the priming solution. I'm not going to need the priming solution to do the carbonating since I have a CO2 tank. I can do what's called forced carbonation by pumping CO2 through the keg with beer in it, shaking the keg, or rocking it rather, letting it kind of splash around and mix in with the CO2. After you do that for about 5 or 6 minutes, it'll carbonate, and you need to let it settle, and then you should be good to try it. You can over-carbonate it or under-carbonate it during this process. If you over-carbonate it, there's not much that you can do, but if it's under-carbonated, you can at least, try it again for a little bit longer. put more CO2 through it. There's a few things that you can do, but since I'm only putting it in the keg, I'm not going to need this. I'm going to put this away. Wow, moving right along. This is not going to be nearly as long a stream as last time. It may come out to be about the same, but it shouldn't be longer than the last one.
3 hours, 59 minutes.
Oh, it was 4 hours? I thought it was 2 hours, 2:59, not 3:59. Nice. Well, all that means is more time to really just wait for beer. More time to drink, I guess. Right? What else is there to do? Yeah, this is the first recipe that I've come across where everything's on one page. It's a little rough to see it, but there's only the one page. Usually there's all the brewing day stuff on the front, and then everything after brewing day on the back. So that would be secondary fermentation, dry hopping, bottling, that kind of stuff. But since this is a more simple recipe, really only, wow, how many ingredients is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, essentially 7 or 8 ingredients. That's all that's going into it. Water, yeast, grains, malt, a little bit of hops. That's pretty much it. There's not much. Did I say yeast already? No. Yeast, hops, malt, yeast. Wow, we're moving right along. This is a lot faster than I thought it was going to be when I first was placing the order for the recipe. I'm really curious as to see what like mass production looks like for just a room full of beer that's waiting to go out because it's not fermented, it's not carbonated yet.
We watched that.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like,
Remember he had his.
oh, yeah, I guess that's the same thing.
Yeah, they're just in barrels.
The barrel room was cool. Maybe we'll get a barrel and let beer sit in it for a year.
Wow.
Yeah, that's how they. There's some beers out there that, like whiskey, can be made in a barrel. The barrel adds wood flavors, some stuff like that. Something similar to what we'll be getting in this.
Beer did it first.
Beer did it first.
Don't forget that.
Yeah, beer. Champagne bottles aren't champagne bottles. It's champagne in a beer bottle. Because beer processing, the bottling and processing of beer was around longer than it was wine, I found out. We had a lot of beer history to catch up on. I had no clue. Time for another one, I guess. Wow, we're moving along. Maybe too fast.
I mean, is it boiling?
Hmm?
Is it boiling?
Not yet, no.
We just hit like the 2 hours. So I mean, we still have 2 hours.
Yeah, it'll be about, for sure about an hour, 1 hour on the hot boil. This may take another 15 minutes to get it boiling. The only part after that is chilling it, getting it up to 5 gallons.
It'll be like an almost 3.5 hour, 4 hours.
3.5, I'm thinking, yeah.
But we did a lot more in this one.
Mm-hmm. We were able to bottle, and that's going to be the most important thing, is getting that part ready. Because now that those beers are ready, they just have to sit for a week at best. Another thing that I was working on since our last live stream, I now have I've published a beer calendar, a brewing calendar. So if you take a look at the channel, if you click the channel where it shows the list of videos that have been uploaded, on the banner you should see a link to a Google Calendar, which will take you to the brewing calendar that I've set up. So essentially not so much a streaming calendar, but more so a calendar as far as the process of the beer that we're brewing. So I have on there today being bottling day and brew day. I don't know if I've put secondary fermentation on for the brown ale yet, but secondary fermentation, kegging it, testing the Lemondrop Saison in about a week when it's ready. That should be accessible via mobile. I'm sure a lot of people are on their phones watching this, but if you're on a computer, you'll see it on the banner. Let me check if it's on. Let me check if it's on mobile. I haven't actually seen what that looks like yet. That should be. Okay. Wow, that quality is much better. You're right. So let me go to the channel. Okay, so it doesn't seem to be on mobile, but I'll find a way to put it in the about portion. Oh yeah, it's on the about portion. So if you're on your phone and you go to the channel page, you should be able to go over to about, which is one of the tabs. It's the furthest right tab. If you click the current brew calendar, that'll take you to the calendar that I set up that shows you specifically what we'll be doing on that day. So today would show bottling the Saison and brewing the brown ale, which is what we're doing. We're almost done, actually. It's moving a lot faster than I thought it would. So this is now at a boil. I'm going to get it to a rolling boil, so I'm going to take it down just a little bit. And then I'm going to add the hops. But first, let me try this perfect pour thing again. Hold on.
Oof.
Yeah. Let me make this look good for the camera. Besides the tiny mess I just made, this is a very good pour. How about that? How about that? I give in to beer pressure, is what the glass says.
Your last one.
What? I give in to beer pressure?
No,
Oh, the last pour? Really?
Yeah.
If I didn't spill so much, I mean, I spilled some on the ingredients. Or you know what I mean, the step list. I spilled a little more somewhere else. But whatever. So it's still a little bit high. I'm going to turn it down a bit more. I'm going to get the hops ready. Yeah, what's up, Jonathan? Good to see you. Yes, blood and honey. Something super simple. If I do end up finishing this and I'm looking for another one, I will grab the IPA that's in the kegerator. Let me go turn it on so that it's cold by the time I get the beer. I'm just going to go this way. So earlier in the week, I spent about 3 hours disassembling part of the kegerator. It was leaking, so I had to fix the leak. I don't want it just dripping. If I'm not pouring a beer, just dripping it is obviously not an ideal way to have it just to settle. So I took part of it. I disassembled it, at least part of it. Found out kind of how it worked. Put it all back together. It's much better now. The leak, the drip, but it's still not perfect. So I'm a little discouraged with using it. But I know that the keg is almost empty. Once the keg is empty, that can give me a little bit more time to figure out what's going on. And then from there, hopefully I can fix the dripping problem. Otherwise, I may need to purchase a new faucet for the kegerator, which I don't want to have to do. Not until I'm working with 2 beers out of the tap, because I'll have to replace it anyway. So we'll cross that bridge later. So I'm going to check on this boil. That is much better. That is definitely a low rolling boil. Time to get the hops in. I can definitely see it doesn't specify in the fruit characteristics on the aroma. That's the most upfront thing I can smell. I can smell the wood though. Wow, that smells really good too.
Okay.
Yeah, right? Yeah, you can kind of smell the wood on the back end of it. Up front, you just hit with the fruit characteristics, but whatever fruit that is, it's not anything overly citrusy, because it's not like very acidic, but maybe like a grapefruit or something like that. I mean, I know it's acidic, but like nothing like an orange, like as like citrusy as that. Maybe. I don't know. I really like it though.
I was thinking cranberry. That's kind of what I was getting.
I mean, it's almost for sure not one. That's why they didn't specify which one. Trying to heat up just a little bit. Okay. Let's see. I'm just going to turn this on just to see what happens. It's the jar, the tip jar thing. I don't know specifically like what you need to do to put stuff in this little jar I just put on the corner, but it is there now. I think that's going to be like bits and stuff like that, but I like seeing it there. So I'm going to leave it there. I want it to be more opaque, less opaque though. Ooh. I don't know if there's a way to do that right now, so I'm not going to mess with it. But I like seeing it there. So now that we've got the hops in there, we're just going to let it boil for an hour. It is 4:16, so we'll let it boil for an hour. I'm going to put the lid back on it. So now would not be a bad time to get well, I've already cleaned this bucket, and we have an hour before we can do anything. The next thing that we're going to be doing is getting the wort chiller ready, but I do believe it's mostly ready. But there's nothing we can do with it yet until the hops have had a chance to boil for an hour. So now I guess we're back to the waiting game. What's up, everybody? How y'all doing? Let me know in the chat how you're doing. Yeah, this is a very simple, very, very simple recipe. I really like the, I may end up buying that specialty grain again. Maybe I'm almost will for sure buy that grain again. The malt itself, that syrup was a little generic. I've used that in the past, I think. But those grains I've never used before. The blend that they use is a chocolate malt, Belgian special, Belgian biscuit, and a Bry's special roast. That's the blend of the grains. So those mixed up. It should have been about a pound or two of grains, but very interesting ingredients in the grains there. That kind of makes for a very interesting, very flavorful beer, and I can't wait. This will probably be the darkest thing I've had coming out of the tap. This will definitely be the darkest thing that I've had coming out of the tap, because I've only had IPAs and Shiner. IPAs and Shiner on tap.
When did we put that in the keg?
The Shiner?
Yeah.
This we can put in the keg in 2 weeks. Next week we're going to be doing secondary fermentation. So about this time next weekend, we'll be getting the brown ale from one bucket to the other. You know, from primary fermentation to the secondary fermentation, and then after secondary fermentation, about a week after that, we can get it into the keg, carbonate it, and try it. If the timing works out correctly, we may be able to test the Lemondrop Saison, I guess, next weekend. We can test it and just open one and see what happens. If you hear the carbonation, then that tells us that it's carbonated and everything looks good. Let's see. So we've got, pretty much still an hour left on our hot boil, which is all right. I'm gonna check on it and make sure that that it's not gonna boil over. If the boil is a little too strong, it can foam up, which will subsequently have it pouring over the top, which happened last time. You don't want that, mostly because it burns it a little bit. It's a little hard to clean up, and that's mostly it. I mean, you just are wasting it a little bit. But with how far the lid is open, this should be just fine. It's a nice soft boil, so this should work out just great. This should work out very, very well. I think now's a really good time for that poll. So let me see if I can set this up. Okay, so I'm starting a poll right now. Let's see how well this works. So in the top there, what you're seeing is a poll that I just created right now. I'm gonna move it. So let me move it real quick. But essentially what we'll need to do is I want to see what you guys would like to brew next. I've got a few poll options here. Those poll options will kind of give me an idea as to what you guys want to see brewed, and we will go from there. So I have moved it. That should make it a little bit easier to see. But how to answer, I do not know. So let's see. I guess I should have figured out how to actually use this before just throwing it into the middle of a live stream, but hey, whatever, right? Oh, it's still a little hard to read. Well, essentially, one of the options is to whether or not to brew another IPA. The other is something dark. So what we've got right now is a brown ale. That's what's on the kettle right now. And then a cider is essentially one of the only other things we haven't actually done. Ciders are a little harder to come by. Let's see, make that a little. Well, I guess I need to figure out how to actually take the poll and to where the votes actually go in. So I will take that off for now. But know that that's coming. I really want to see what other people are interested in. I guess mostly drinking. Like when you figure out what you like to drink, it's a little easier to know what you want to make from there. Because it's usually easier to make what you like to drink. That way, if you don't like it, you can kind of tweak it. But if you do, then you have something very enjoyable. Don't worry too much about the poll right now. I will figure out how that actually works, and then we'll go from there. But for now, we've got another 50 minutes on our boil. So we will be able to get the boil chilled using the wort chiller right around then. I'm going to add the wort chiller in when there's about 2 minutes left in the boil. That way, any bacteria that's on the wort chiller, we can get that. The heat from the wort will actually kill any bacteria and prevent any from getting onto it for a little bit. So let me go grab the wort chiller and bring it a little closer to us. I guess it doesn't matter. But yeah, I'll need to put it in here first. So give me 1 second. Wort chiller. For those that didn't see it last week or 2 weeks ago, this has a hookup for your water hose. Essentially, you get your water hose, pump water through this. You pump water through, and heat will transfer from the wort through this copper wiring. And as the water goes through, it's going to cool the wort while heating up the water that's flowing through the wort chiller. It then goes out through this end, which we'll just have going into essentially right into the grass. I'm not going to be able to use that water for much right now, so there's no point in trying to store it. And we just found ourselves dumping it into the grass anyway. But at this point, it's nice to water the grass. At least that way the water gets used. But from there, we'll use that to chill the wort. It should take about 10 or so minutes. After that, all we have to do is get some more water into one of our buckets, put the wort inside of it, put the yeast inside, and then seal it away for about a week. And then we'll next weekend we'll do secondary fermentation. I may do a Twitch live stream for that, since it's going to be really, really quick. It'll be an easy way to test that side of it. I'll make sure to put the link in the description. So if you check this video after it's published, you'll see the link. You'll see the link for the Twitch live stream. So that for the small things, we'll probably move that to the Twitch, and then the big live streams for like the bottling, the brewing, we'll actually do here on the YouTube channel. But stay tuned for the links in the description after this gets published. Let me go ahead and move this. Move this back. What's up? Good to see everybody. This is fun. I'm having a good time. It's just a matter of getting this ready, finishing this up, so that we can have some beer drink in a few weeks. If this does, if I do end up finishing this Blood and Honey, I'll grab some of the Kama Citra and see if I can do a perfect pour out of the tap. I haven't, with the exception of the kegerator. I mean, I bartended a couple years, some time ago it feels like. But now that I know the technique for a perfect pour, I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna try that out on the kegerator, see if I can get a perfect pour out of the tap. Should be fun, but that's a matter of whether or not I finish this soon enough, and I'm up for it. I'm gonna take a second, since I still have 30 some odd minutes on this the boil. I'm gonna take a second to clean up. That way I don't have to do it after the stream. So give me 2 minutes or so. I'm gonna swap the scene back over to the stream. It's starting soon. I apologize that's what I'm having to use, but for whatever reason, the intermission scene that I set up isn't working all that well. I can try something else here, so let me do that. I'm gonna swap to there for now, just so that you can have something to look at. Oops, sorry about that. Welcome back. So I took a few minutes to get the intermission page put back together, as well as clean up just a little bit. So things are looking a little bit better now. We're still waiting on that. We're still an easy 40 or so minutes on the hot boil. Once that's done, we'll be able to chill it and then put some yeast in it. Then it'll be beer. I appreciate everybody sticking with me through that intermission while I cleaned up a little bit. Anybody have any questions as to where we are in the process? I know a little bit has just been moving along just as I can, doing what's next in the process. But where we're at right now, we're on step like 4 or 5 out of 6 or 7. Let's see. Yeah, we're pretty much 2 steps away from being done. So all we need to do is chill the wort, then add some water into our bottling or our fermenter, put the wort into the fermenter, add the yeast, and then seal it off for a couple weeks. Gotta love blood and honey. So I am just since my channel is still very small, we're pushing just over 50 subscribers, so thank you to everyone that's watching and that's subscribed. Here, hopefully once I break 1,000 subscribers, which sounds like it's a long time from now, once we break that mark, we'll actually be able to do a little bit more good with the donations that we're doing. Essentially right now, the donations are only made when people click the link and go straight to the charity that I'm sponsoring. Eventually, when there's a little bit of a larger audience, I will be able to have a donation link right in the live stream feed. So essentially it would be along the, in the chat, you would be able to donate as well. My ultimate plan is to have that link that's in the chat that allows you to donate. My ultimate plan would be to have that link direct you straight to the charity. That way there's very little extra work that needs to be done. Of course, I'll still have the information page in the description, so you can learn a little bit about where the money's going to go. I do what I can to verify these charities beforehand, looking at reviews, Better Business Bureau type stuff, just to make sure that they are on the up and up. There is a site called Charity Watcher or something like that, I want to say, that will actually rate the charity as to how much money it takes to raise, let's say $100. If it takes $10,000 for a charity to raise $1,000, obviously there's a lot of money that's not going where it should be. There's almost, when it comes to overhead and volunteers and lights and food and stuff like that for those that are volunteering, sometimes it does take a little bit more than, say, $100 to donate $100. But the ultimate plan would be to do what we can to save the world just a little bit, one brew at a time, essentially. I do want to have each beer sponsor its own charity. That way, if we do end up selling these beers when in the future, if that's a thing I can do, all the proceeds from that beer would go to the charity that we're sponsoring. The charity that beer is sponsoring. We're a little bit of a ways away from that, but I do want to put that out there. That way, again, for those that are able to donate, I think that's the whole point of doing all of this. I already brew beer. I already do all the things that you're seeing. But also doing that and having an opportunity to raise money, that's essentially why I'm doing it. So that we can be the change we want to see in the world. Right now we are sponsoring the NAACP Legal Defense and Education Fund. Feel free to click the information link in the description if you want to know a little bit more about it. But I haven't said it in a little bit. I am matching donations up to $10, so feel free to donate up to $10 to the charity. If you email me at my email address, which is in the chat, I will send it again. if you email me the confirmation after you make your donation, I will match your. Actually, it's without the G, so let me do that again. My apologies. Wow, I am not good at typing right now. Anyway, I guess you get the picture. Just Brewing, without the G, at gmail.com is my a channel email. If you email me there, you have a screenshot of your confirmation after you've made your donation. I will match said donation up to $10. Feel free to donate more than $10 if you can, but if you'd like to see it doubled, you should be able to do that. Now, that doesn't mean, feel free to donate the $10 more than once if that's what it takes. But I can't give out all my money, but I will donate more than I already have. That I don't have a problem with. But if you send me the confirmation screenshot, I will match that donation, and we'll see if we can take every dollar a little further. Back to the live stream. So from here, I need to go ahead and get. We're still about 30 minutes away from the boil being done. I'm gonna go ahead and get some sanitizer ready for the lid, the airlock. That's essentially it. After we have that ready, we'll be putting water into our fermenter, and then the chilled wort into the fermenter. We'll get it up to 5 gallons. Add the yeast, and then we'll seal it away, and that'll be essentially the end of that should be the end of the live stream. So give me 2 minutes to get get some sanitizer in the airlock. I'm not gonna put on the intermission scene. I don't think it's necessary because all I have to do is take the airlock, put it into our into the sanitizer. There we go. Wow. That smells really good. A lot of the grains after they get boiled kind of smell very similar, but this one, since it's a bit darker, you can kind of taste, or not taste, but you can smell the chocolate aromas. There's something like caramel or toffee in there that's very almost sweet smelling. I described it earlier as close to a marshmallow sweetness, where you just kind of already smell the sugar. It's not marshmallow, but that was the closest thing that I could use to describe the initial waft that I got, that aroma. Hopefully, without digging too deep, there's really not much of a way to see the specifics as to what's in the extract. They do tell you on the label, but you don't really know what else is going on, if there is anything going on. But I can tell you now, it smells really, really good. I don't know the ingredients specifically, but it smells amazing. And I can't wait till it actually taste it. In hopefully 2 weeks, as soon as 2 weeks. So it's making weird sounds. I'm going to turn it down just a little bit. I don't know if I got picked up on the camera earlier, but I made a weird popping sound, the pot. And I don't know if that's just because it's just heating up and expanding, or the other way. Specifically, I don't know. Nothing to be alarmed about, I'm sure. Oh, it's doing it again. Sorry about that. Let's see here. Just opening a tab or two. Okay. Awesome. Yeah, this is looking good. Sorry, I just cannot stop smelling it. It just smells so good. Very important to hydrate. Standing over the hot stove with some lights on you, gets a little hot. So I'm doing what I can to stay hydrated. I'm glad I'm not sweating. I usually sweat pretty easily, so I'm glad I'm not sweating right now. Wow, we are pretty much done. I mean, it's a little crazy how fast how very little time this took in the grand scheme of things. I'm gonna put this over in the recycling. Give me 1 second. Oop.
Just lift the wire up and walk underneath it. Or do that. It's good.
Just gonna continue putting things away. Yeah, there's not much to do this very second. Ooh, sorry about that. Oh, I guess I can't sit down. Then you won't be able to see me. But there, right now, let me go ahead and grab. I'm gonna put some beer into this glass here. Hopefully the kegerator doesn't do anything weird. So give me 1 minute. I'm gonna test out this intermission switch again. Give me 1 second. Welcome back. Thanks for sticking with me. There was some food at the door, so we got the food in. I ate a little bit of some fries, really. Right now we are about 15 minutes away from our the brown ale being ready. The hop boil is almost done. I was able to pour the last bit of our Kama Citra IPA. This is indeed the last bit of it.
I didn't realize how dark that was.
Yeah, it's a dark gold, like a dark golden color. It's pretty nice. I like it. Don't forget to hydrate. I'm going to turn the heat up just a little bit. It's 5 o'clock right now, which means there's about 15 minutes left on the boil. So when there's about 3 minutes left on the boil, I'm going to add the wort chiller inside of it. So let me get that part ready. I'm going to crush it down just a little bit so that there's more of the wort chiller in the wort. It should chill a little faster if you do that. Moving right along. Thanks again for watching. You are viewing Just Brewing, where we brew beer and raise money. There's not much else that goes into it. We brew beer. I also have a couple videos on some of the steps taken in between the brew processes. You'll see one later on this entire brew process of the brown ale that's brewing right now. The plan is to have a top to bottom of what it looks like to brew this beer, while also trying to raise some money. Every video that I upload, you'll see a donation link, or at least every live stream that I do, you'll see a donation link. Once my channel gets a little bit bigger, once I have a little bit more traffic, I'll be able to have even ad revenue going to charity. That's the ultimate goal if there is one. But we'll get there when we get there. I'm about 950 subscribers away from being able to get there. So 949, you're so right. But once we get there, we'll be able to directly influence the charity themselves. Hopefully, I'll be able to work with charities a little closer and raise even more money. My current job, I am able to, there are times where certain charities donations are doubled, so when that time comes, I do want to capitalize on that and essentially double or triple the donations that are given. Double on your end, triple on the end of my company, the company that I work for rather. And from there, we should be able to really do some good, make some change in the world. Again, this week we're sponsoring the NAACP Legal Defense and Education Fund, fighting social injustices by using education, starting with education. And from there, there's quite a few things that they do, so feel free to click the info link in the description. You'll find that there's a little bit of info as to what they do, where the money goes. Hopefully we'll be able to do some good with this brew that we've got. Is only about 10 minutes away from being ready for the wort chiller. In those 10 minutes, there's not much currently to do, but after those 10 minutes, I will put the wort chiller in. We'll move the wort, And then we'll hook up the water hose to it, the water hose to the wort chiller, and then chill the wort so that it can be ready for fermentation. Fermentation for this beer should take about 2 weeks. I'm going to let it sit in this bucket that's on the floor. You can't see it right now. Now you can. I'm going to let it sit in this bucket for about a week. And then after that, we'll transfer it from this bucket to the next one. Likely this one here. And then a week after that, we'll put it in the keg. And then we'll try it. We'll drink it. We'll see how it tastes.
That's how you drink things.
Oh. I really want to get good at shaking the glass. You can really smell the citrus.
Shut up.
You can. So what I'm drinking right now is Northern Brewers Kama Citra IPA, using Citra hops. So there's lots of a very strong citrus aroma. You can for sure taste it on the front end. This is a very light beer, so it doesn't stick around too long. It doesn't stay. You don't get much of an aftertaste. You can still taste it after you've swallowed it, but it doesn't like linger like a lot of other strong IPAs. Definitely an easy one to drink. This one itself is probably pushing 6.5%. So it's a little bit stronger than some of the others that you'll see on the shelf coming out of the tap at a restaurant or a bar. But it's still very good. Of course, Northern Brewer themselves is not a commercial. You're not going to see their beers in bars. They're almost exclusively for home brewing, which is great for people like us that are just looking to brew the beer they like, drink what's here. I don't have too much to worry about when it comes to variety from someone like them. They have a lot of the major beers out there that are available. Regular delivery times, with a decent brewing day, you can have beer ready within a matter of a couple of weeks, depending on whether you're bottling it or if you are using a kegerator. For whatever reason, Tucker is wanting to walk around all on the hardwood floor, despite being told otherwise. So, you know how that goes. Cool. So we have about 6 minutes left on the hot boil. So we'll be able to add the wort chiller in just a couple minutes. We will then transition over to closer to the back door. That way, when the wort chiller is hooked up to the wort, or the water hose is hooked up to the wort chiller, we'll be able to get that hot water that's displaced from the wort out into the grass. That way, we're at least using the water in that sense. Only a couple more minutes on that. Wow, I'm for sure gonna use that grain again. I really like that grain. If I do end up doing my own, something like a darker porter style beer, these grains are gonna be great, and I want to make sure to hold on to this. I do hold on to every recipe that I brew. As of yet, I don't think I've ordered the exact same recipe multiple times. I've brewed a number of IPAs, a couple ambers, and 1 American Ale, which was super light, super easy. It only took about 2 or 3 weeks top to bottom after bottling. So depending, I do have all the recipes, so I may kind of Frankenstein my own homebrew recipe. We'll cross that bridge later, but as of right now, I'm very much enjoying the ingredient kits I've been given. They're really easy to follow. They give you everything that you need. All of the only thing that you need is water and bottle caps usually. Everything else they give you. So it's very nice as long as you have the equipment. So now, I'm going to go ahead and add some sanitizer to our primary fermenter. I'm going to slosh that around, make sure that every inch of the primary fermenter is covered with sanitizer. That way you want to essentially do everything you can to minimize the likelihood of an infection. If the beer gets infected, if bacteria does form, it'll just taste really, really funky. And you're going to have essentially wasted money and time, neither of which I'm a fan of. So I do what I can to minimize that as much as possible. I'm going to sanitize this bucket, and then get it ready for the wort once it's chilled. So let me pour some of our sanitizer into the primary fermenter. And if you were watching the stream earlier, this primary fermenter did have the sanitizer in it earlier, so it's probably pretty clean, but you never want to be too sure. I'm going to go ahead and sanitize it again anyway, just to make sure that this is as clean as possible. I'm going to leave a little bit of sanitizer in the bucket just to make sure that right before I pour the wort into it, I want to make sure it's still sanitized. So I'm going to leave some in it, slosh it around a little bit more. So now there's about 3 minutes left on the boil. I'm going to go ahead and put the wort chiller inside. All right, so now I've got the wort chiller in the wort. What I'm doing right now is I'm going to let it sit in there for the last few minutes of the boil. By doing that, it's going to burn off any of the bacteria that's still on it. Again, lowering the chance of infection in the beer. I don't want to waste the beer, so I want to make sure everything is clean. Anything that comes in contact with it, it's going to be clean and sanitized. So by doing this, it's going to burn off any bacteria that's on the wort chiller, giving us the opportunity to have very clean, not infected beer, which is probably what you would get, most likely what you would get out of a tap, out of a bottle, out of a can, anytime you buy it. Any beer you want to drink, you want to make sure that it's, you don't want to drink infected beer. It just doesn't taste good. Trust me. Okay. So what I'm gonna do now, there's about 2 minutes left on the boil. I'm gonna go ahead and set up the intermission page. That way I can move the camera, get everything set up for the chilling phase. That process by itself takes about 10 or so minutes. So what we'll do is I'm gonna let it sit for about 1 more minute, set up the intermission, move everything over to the back door, and then once the wort chiller is ready, go ahead and start using it, pumping water through it, transferring the heat from the wort to the wort chiller, or the water in the wort chiller. Hopefully that gives us a quick, easy chilling process. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I will see y'all in just a couple minutes. Thanks for those that are sticking with me. I'll see y'all when we get back. Okay, so what I have now, I've got the wort chiller inside the wort. I've got water going through the water hose coming through here. It's a little bit of a mess, but that's all right. Water is going through, and the wort chiller, the copper outside of the wort chiller, is essentially transferring the heat from the really hot boiling wort. It's essentially transferring the heat from the wort to the water going through the garden hose. So I have a thermometer hooked up to it already from what was 200 degrees or so for the boil. We're already below 180 degrees. So what we want to do is we want to get this as close to 100 degrees as possible. And by using this wort chiller, this is going to drastically save us quite a bit of time throughout that process instead of giving it an ice bath, which is essentially putting it in the sink with a bunch of ice and water. This is a little bit more modern, and it works a little faster. So this is what we're going with right now. I'm going to move back over to the kitchen very quickly just to make sure there's nothing over there that needs to be put inside, because for those that were with me last live stream, they would remember that I made a mistake and put some of the hops in too late. So I want to make sure there's nothing else I'm missing. So give me 1 second, I'll be right back. Okay. So already we're at about 155 degrees. So here in just a few more minutes, we'll be able to we'll get some water into the primary fermenter. We'll transfer the wort to the primary fermenter. We'll get it up to 5 gallons, and then we will add the yeast, and then we'll call it a day. We'll seal it off, and then we'll check on it in about a week or so. But for now, we're just gonna we're gonna let the wort chiller continue doing what it's doing. I'm gonna step outside and make sure that everything else is still looking good. So give me 1 second. All right, so the water's looking good. I went ahead and used the water that's coming out of the wort chiller. I went ahead and sprayed that across the backyard. That way we're watering the grass as well, not just wasting gallons and gallons of water. There isn't much that you can do with this water unless you put it into another bucket or a very large cooler of sorts. There's not much you can do with it because it's just hot water. I did have an idea to use it for filling up a water bowl, like for my dog or something like that, because it's still the same water, there's still the same water coming out of my hose, out of the side of the house. So it's no different than that. It's just a matter of where the water goes. Right now, it's just going into the backyard. So I was able to use that to kind of water the grass. Again, I'm in Austin, Texas, where it is regularly over 100 degrees right now in the summer. And watering the grass is almost never a bad thing. So right now, we are all the way down to below 130 degrees already. So we're moving very fast through this chilling process. For those that have been watching, you may have watched the steam go from a very strong amount of steam, a lot of steam, now to what's very little, it seems. I can kind of see some coming from the side of the kettle here, but we're already almost at 120 degrees. Once we get closer to 100, we'll be able to get this into our primary fermenter. So I'm going to let you guys keep an eye on this. I'm going to go put some water in the primary fermenter, and I'll be right back. Okay, so it's down to about 110 degrees now. So in about 2 minutes, we'll be able to take the wort, pour it into this bucket now that I've brought over. This is our primary fermenter that has about 2 gallons of water in it. We'll be able to pour the wort into here, cooling it even more, and then we're going to add a little bit more water to get it just around 5 gallons. After that, we're going to add some yeast, seal it up, and then wait about a week. Essentially, there isn't much else to do after that, so that will likely be the end of the live stream. Thank you to anyone else that is still watching. Feel free to put any questions you have in the chat or in the comment section. Much like the last live stream, this will get. Let me move this just a little. Ooh. Hey, there we go. Much like the last video, this will get uploaded and timestamped, so we'll be able to follow the process a little bit better. There's going to be an official video published going around the process of brewing the Nut Brown Ale by Brewer. Right now, we're still letting this chill, so there's only a couple more minutes on that. But once that's ready, we're going to go ahead and transfer it into the fermenter. Right now, we're at about 105 degrees. So once it's ready, I'll pour it, and then we will set up the intermission again and move back to the kitchen one last time. After that, it's just going to be it should be a fairly simple closing down process. We'll just get this back over there, put more water into it, seal it off, and then we'll call it a day. I do want to give a shout out to, one more time, my girlfriend for giving me this super nice shirt. Stay tuned for more shirts and stuff like that for our next live stream. I want to have something else planned for next time, but that likely won't be for about another week or so. And here we are getting closer to the 100 degree mark. I'm going to go ahead and set up the intermission, pull the wort chiller out. We will then move over to the kitchen, and I will see you guys in just a couple minutes. Okay, thanks for hanging out. So now, you can't see it. Maybe I can get into this chair here. But I guess you can't see it. I have the brown ale in the primary fermenter now. I'm just going to aerate it. I'm going to shake it up just a little bit. Not much, but I'm just going to stir it just a little bit. By doing that, it's going to let all the new... let it all mix in, the new water, the cold water. So I'm just going to rock it side to side. I don't have it sealed all the way, so I'm not going to mess around with it too much, just because that's going to make a mess. But I'm going to rock it side to side. I don't want it to splash too much, so I'm just going to shake it just a little bit, make sure it's all stirred. Wow, this is very dark. This is going to be so great. I can't wait. Okay, that should be enough. Okay, so now it's just a matter of adding yeast. Wow. Oh, whoops. Okay, so now I'm going to take the yeast, which is in the sanitizer, take the scissors, cut it open. We are nearing the end of the live stream, so if you have any questions, those that are still with me, feel free to put them in the chat now. I can answer them later, or if you're still here, I can answer them once I get finished doing this. But I'm going to take the yeast. The wort is not warm to the touch, so the temperature should be perfect to do this. So I'm just going to add the yeast, we'll sprinkle it across the top. And just like that, we are almost done. So I'm going to seal it off. Perfect. I've got some sanitizer in our airlock, so this will prevent any oxygen from getting in while letting any air come out. So I'm going to set this off to the side just for now, and then we will conclude this live stream. Okay, well, first and foremost, I want to thank everyone that stopped and tuned in. I also want to thank anyone that was able to make any donations. Again, if you were able to make a donation and are looking to have it doubled, feel free to take a screenshot of the receipt after you've made your donation. If you email that to me at justbrewing@gmail.com, you'll see that email address in the chat. You'll see it correctly twice, incorrectly a couple times as well. But it's essentially the channel name without the G on the end. I can elaborate on that later on, but for now, all that matters is for those that are looking to have their donation doubled, email me at justbrewing@gmail.com and we will get that taken care of. I'll likely, if there are any, I'll upload a screenshot later on of the actual transaction, much like the receipt or the confirmation that you get. But other than that, the beer that we just brewed, the brown ale, is now sealed, ready to start fermenting. The beer that we bottled earlier is now sealed, the Lemondrop Saison. That's going to be ready for testing in about a week. So if anything, I will see you then. If you have any questions or looking for a little bit more information on the charity or what I'm doing for the charity, feel free to put those in the channel, the comment section of the video just below the like button. If there's anything else that you may need, I can answer any questions there. I will also be uploading some stuff to Twitch later on, the small stuff that you'll see, likely testing the Saison, the secondary fermentation of the brown ale. Make sure to subscribe, that way you can see any channel stories or updates that I have. And from there, it sounds like there's nothing else to do, so I'll see you all next week. Thanks again for tuning in. Feel free to put in the comments if you have any questions. Thanks again, everybody. You've been viewing Just Brewing.
Did you not?